Robots. Dinosaurs. Robot dinosaurs. Doesn't that sound awesome to you? Oh wait, you don't have to answer the question. I know it does. That's exactly why leading up to its release, I eyed Horizon Zero Dawn very closely. Developed by Guerrilla Games, responsible for the Killzone series, Horizon went on to make a name for itself as a unique and very good, mind you, new IP. I remember how at the time of its release, the game drew a lot of comparisons to Breath of the Wild. In fact, the game released only a couple weeks before Breath of the Wild, putting many people in a situation where they couldn't think of one game without thinking about the other. So, when the time came, I had a choice to make. Was I gonna get Horizon Zero Dawn? Or was I gonna get The Legend of Zelda Breath of... Do you even know me? We're talking about the newest entry in my favorite game franchise of all time. I got that game frame 1. What a stupid question. But, a few months later, when the dust had settled, I picked up Horizon and it went on to become one of my favorite games of all time. And after spending tons of time playing both games, I started to distance myself from the Breath of the Wild comparisons. I mean, sure, they're definitely in the same genre, but the similarities for the most part end there. Horizon is a game that offers more than enough unique content to earn a spot in my repertoire of games that I often revisit. But what makes this game so special? Well, allow me to explain in about 6 or 7 minutes of content. Most of the video games that I love are made by Japanese game development studios. So in other words, no matter where their inspirations may come from while developing a game, there are always going to be Japanese game development conventions that bleed through. So when I played Horizon for the first time, it had a different feeling from the get-go. Guerrilla is a Dutch company, so they came in with their European conventions. Not only that, but they opted for a unique location, basing it in the rolling hills and plains of a deserted Colorado. It was nice to see a relatively new take on a genre I'd already seen done many times. And while Horizon is far from the first open-world action-adventure game with RPG elements to be developed by a European studio, it still manages to carve a niche for itself in the way that it presents its world. Like, sure, a game like, I don't know, Fallout 4 may fit the genre description I just gave, but does it force you to fight robot T-Rexes with a bow and arrow as a warrior woman? Yeah, I didn't think so. The game takes place in the 31st century, picking up 1,000 years after technology essentially wipes out humanity, forcing the species to basically hit the reset button. Because of this, the humans in this game have what are essentially just pre-Bronze Age level equipment with bits of technology sprinkled throughout. Their culture reflects that, being tribe and clan-based. In other words, not all too advanced. So the story centers around Aloy, a girl who was born into the Nora tribe under strange conditions that I will not spoil. And from birth she is outcast, forced to live away from everyone else in her clan, with her guardian, Rost. The Nora tribe is already seen as less advanced than the other ones because they rely heavily on religion and tradition, so when Aloy set out into the world, she's seen as 2 steps behind everybody else. Aloy is an incredibly likable protagonist because, despite her own goals and aspirations like understanding the circumstances of her birth, and despite the ridicule she faces on a daily basis, she still goes out of her way to help others. And it's because of this type of behavior that Aloy is able to build a support group of companions throughout the entire game. And because they come from different tribes and areas, it helps give us a better sense of the world. Uncovering secrets of the past and what happened to humanity is extremely satisfying as well. Figuring this stuff out had me feeling like futuristic Scooby-Doo. I just think that the world building in this game is incredible. Definitely the best I've seen in a new IP. But now, we gotta talk about the robots. There are tons of different types of machines in this game, most taking different inspirations from real-world animals. The grazers are elks, the striders, draft horses, snapmaws, alligators. The list goes on. You can tell that Guerrilla put a lot of effort into the designs of the machines and making them look really cool. But, sorry, just like in Monster Hunter, who cares how many hours the devs put into their designs? Because we're just gonna kill 'em! The machines are designed with an intricacy to them that makes them feel like intelligent, real-world creatures. The more times you fight them, the more familiar you become with their patterns and behaviors. It's almost like learning a matchup in a fighting game. And by the end of the game, you'll naturally develop to a point where you have an almost surgical precision and efficiency. It comes down to making loads of micro decisions. Knowing when to use your rope caster to tie an enemy down, knowing when to shoot them in their weak spot, knowing when to dodge, knowing when to prioritize damage or knocking off parts, knowing which part is most important to knock off and when, knowing when to play stealthily, knowing when to run. The list goes on. Sometimes the wrong decision can mean death, even on lower difficulties, so you have to play smart at all times. It's not about your reaction time, it's about your ability to have the right reaction in compromising situations. And once you master that, you can conquer most foes in the game. There is no one-size-fits-all approach when playing Horizon Zero Dawn. If you don't go in with a specific strategy for each machine type, you're gonna get whooped. So, let's review, kids. What did we learn in these last 6 to 7 minutes? Well, outside of the genre, it has very little in common with Breath of the Wild, and many of its peers for that matter. The game's beautiful and unique world keeps you hooked, and the story is something truly special. The fights are engaging, super snappy, and fun. And this game has more than earned its spot as one of my favorite games of all time. There are so many interesting places they can go with the sequel, and I simply cannot wait for Horizon Forbidden West. Wait, actually, stop right there, stop right there. I've been making videos about my favorite games since April, almost a year now. And you know, in that time, I've played a lot of new games. So, in other words, I can say very safely and confidently that a new favorite game of all time has been added. And that game is... what can I say? How fitting.